Hi, this is Max from Unsubscribed Healthcare, and now we're going to go over the Patient Subjective tab. The Patient Subjective tab is really good at managing patient intake information that has been submitted through the consent form. This uses the SCUDS button layout, which stands for Search, Clear, Update, Delete, and Save. The Patient Subjective tab does not include the Save button. The layout of this tab is cell B2 has a drop-down to select the patient name. Cell C2 is a drop-down for the patient ID, and rows 3 through 14 populate the patient responses based on the selections. So after you select the patient name and ID, you can click search, and all of the patient's information will fill out. You are able to open up a side-loading window of the patient intake form by clicking on the Patient Subjective button. As you can see, now you can fill out the patient intake form yourself in this window. You're also able to open up the intake form by clicking on the unsub menu and clicking on the subjective form. Now that I have added in a patient, what we're going to do is we're going to call forward that patient. So I'm going to click on this. You can see that it is automatically updated anytime that you add in a new patient. It's updated. If I started typing in Max, it will bring up that patient's name. So this is searchable by typing as well. So if you know your patient's name, you'll be able to click that. And when you click on ID, it's only going to list the available ID for that patient. So if they have multiple injuries that they've come in for, they're going to have different patient IDs for each of those injuries. You can see here, there is no ID available because nobody has been selected in cell B2. So make sure you click on the patient that you want, click on the ID, and then I'm going to click search. When I click search, it's going to put in all the information that was just typed in. So here you can see the patient's first name, last name, and it goes through all of the questions that the patient just answered. And also it allows us to update any of this information. So say if the patient is able to get a secondary insurance, we would be able to change this answer to yes. We'll just put HP for Harvard Pilgrim, and we'll say that the member number is 12312. Now what we can do is that we can click update. When we click update, it's going to update all of this information. So if I click clear, and then we go ahead and call forward that patient's information again, you'll see here in the secondary insurance that has been changed to yes, and then we have HP and everything else. So you're able to update the patient's information more easily this way. Anytime you update this information here, it will also automatically update inside that patient's newly created folder and workbook. So whenever you update it, it'll be in column H, and all this information will be updated. So you can see here, do you have a secondary insurance? Yes, HP 123, right? If I come back here and I need to update it and say, hey, we don't actually have a secondary insurance anymore, we lost that, I'm going to click update, click OK, and then I'm going to come back, and you can see here it automatically refreshes and goes to no and gets rid of the other information. So that's the patient subjective. The other thing to note is that after you have created more questions, so you can see all of these questions here are blank and just numbered. These are the 29 additional questions that you can add into your Google form, and you would want to add in the questions that you have here. Also note is that you would want to change, if you change around any of the questions in section 13 or 14 of the patient intake form, you would want to change the questions here so that you'd be able to just look at it and be able to see what you're working with. Really don't like the buttons that we have available for you. You can actually customize these yourself. You would right click on the button that you want to change, press on those 3 dots, and click on replace image. Now you're able to browse your files and upload your own image that you would like there instead of my own. You can do this one with any buttons, but it's just another way that you guys can customize these workbooks and all of this programming for yourselves. The only other thing is, again, we have a directory button here. You can click on that directory button and it will bring you back to the directory. Up next, we're going to go over the billing tab.